Hello. So today we are going to talk about Vastu, our place of dwelling. But it is going to be something of a different quality, not just in terms of a physical place when we refer to Vastu, but also as a beholder of our spiritual self, as something that is a dwelling of all our ideas, all our possibilities, all of our aspirations and ambitions. So, what is this Vastu, this dwelling, the physical place that we inhabit? How is it related, or how can you imagine it to be in a way affecting our emotional or spiritual well-being as well? Now, as this is a topic which is very sthul in nature, something which is talking about the physical form first, so it is natural that we first talk about the physicality of a space, the place there where you live. It is most probably those four walls that you have surrounding you, and it could be a play of various materials or a permutation and combination as to how this dwelling that you have for yourself, it is acting as an exterior skin for you. In architecture, this dwelling has been referred to as your additional skin because it protects you from the elements of nature, which are at many times harsh. The seasons, how the landscape, the atmosphere, the weather transforms around you from summer, the warmth, the very severe heat, to maybe the winter where it could be extreme in the very opposite dimension, which might make you shiver at times, and how this goes through the very complex and heavy lashings of rains for some people, and to protect you from this is your dwelling. Now, this is just talking about the physical aspects of it, and the Vastu Shastra, which is an ancient Indian text, talks in great detail about how it should be designed, your dwelling, in a way that it maintains a balance of energies. It is not just about a very esoteric thing, but it was in a way a yantra which was designed by the learned Vastrugya, the learned architects of those times, and it was done so by taking care of various modalities of forms, of functions, how these things, how these elements used to transform the human condition, how these used to affect the physical and mental, both the realms or the atmospheres of a human being. And the process of making a text or a form of a sutra or principles was done in a way that it became ingrained very easily into the mindset of the people. So a person who is not having that level of an intellect or having that much of an interest to learn so deeply about it, could still follow the principles by considering them to be something very high in nature, having the pedestal of being called as a scripture. So that was the way of usually transferring wisdom to the common folk through the ways and means of creating a scripture around knowledge or wisdom. Having talked about how these Vastu Shastra, how it affected the human being on the scale of their mental or physical well-being, now let us see what more Vastu really encompasses. It is not just about being in a favorable atmosphere, a building, a dwelling which is conducive to your physical form, but it is also about your surrounding. Not just the mass or the materials or the construction that you dwell in, but also the other people, the environment around you, the climate, the vicinity. How open or how conducive you are to it, or how transformative these factors are to you, how you are able to become a conduit and grow in your life. Rather, growing is still which comes as a result, but the main inducer of this growth is a healthy environment. Are these factors healthy for you? Are the people who you dwell with, are the environment that you live in, are they conducive? Are they healthy? This is also a part of Vastu which is often neglected by most of us. We see the energies or the positivity of a built form, but we do not see the health of the people who are going to dwell in it. It is often said that the human spirit is more powerful than any of the principles or any of the rules of any science which has been scriptural in nature, because in the end the architecture or the scriptures, they are meant for the human being to develop. It is not the other way around. The development of scriptures, science and the other things will happen as a result or progress of human beings, and this development will happen automatically. So when one looks at this conducive Vastu, they need to see that are they having this openness, are they having that connect with nature, are they able to be not completely identified with where they live, are they just living in a box which is restricting their growth, their creativity, are they able to breathe the clean air, are they able to smell the fragrance of a ripe flower or a fruit. And we find ourselves lacking to a great extent that we have considered these things that our ancestors used to live with so generally or so commonly as something of a great luxury for ourselves. Why has this happened that we have become so exclusive from the nature? The nature has birthed us too. Yet why are we the residents of something which is extremely mechanical and something which makes us so far away from our roots. It is not necessary that everyone needs to have a dwelling with a garden attached or in a farmhouse or something very remote, but it is certainly to be asked, or a question to ask yourself, that even if you are living in a space which is restrictive for a great amount of time, is it something which is helping you grow? Are you living there out of a want for being able to focus on something which is positive for you? Or are you just going with a flow which is negative in nature? There have been many architects, even in the modern world, which have looked for these utopian scenarios or tried to design such mega idealistic green cities, and some have found a bit of success too. But we have to look at these uh, as an opportunity for being able to grow in our own lives. And as we said, that we are not going to be talking too technically about architecture over here, but we want to look at what is something which is conducive to human growth, and where is this balance coming for us. And only by having this questioning mindset to see your own dincharya or your own routine, and seeing where your time is going, what you are doing, and what is the tripti or the enrichment or the satisfaction that you are getting out of your routine course or your routine schedules. And we have come to understand our goals, which we have ordained or the society has told us or our parents tell us to vie for, and they are mostly monetary in nature as the ultimate. But one needs to also think that if everyone has the same goal, yet most of them are not able to achieve it, then what is it that we are doing wrong as a humanity, as a larger population? And maybe it could be that our goals are wrong, they do not come from our own selves, they have been borrowed. Or maybe it could be that there are things which we do wrong, yet we expect the results to be right, which is a very bad hope, to say the least. So only through this questioning, only through asking this intimidating questions, that what is it that is conducive for us, what is stopping us, where are our limitations, and having an open mind to think about it and going behind the solution, having that courage, will take us towards that kind of a growth, be able to build those kind of communities by our growth fulfilling or fueling this kind of a mission. Now, looking again at what Vastu is, we have established that it is not just a physical form or a physical place. It is a habitat which sees the all-round growth of an individual, in which their uniqueness can flower. This kind of an approach will certainly make you grow. The reason why we took this topic today was because we received a question on similar lines, which was asking about how to decide if one has to leave a particular place. And I think this previous part of the discourse takes a good look at what a place or Vastu really is. And when it comes in terms of asking for it through the lens of a particular person, then one has to see what their work is, what their relationship with their dwelling is, as to how the things that they are facing or how they associate with living in their place, how is it associated with the larger picture of their work. If someone finds that in their life they have to grow beyond a point and they see their place as being a limitation in a way, they see that they are not able to grow because of it. There are certain elements that make it very tough to be able to create some kind of a change. Then it is often a good thing to move out, change, and also one has to be very pragmatic about such decisions, as to maybe you could note down the problems that you are facing firstly, and then see how doing what you think will be a remedial action, how really will it work. And when that case is very strong towards you having to move, you having to really go out of your comfort zone, experience something new, be able to see your life through a different perspective, and also look at the world by extension through a different light. That is the responsibility that your position is asking from you, your current situation is asking from you. Then by all means you have to be open to it. And if you see through this honest questioning that your Vastu is really not the problem, but it was you that have been limiting your own capabilities and blaming it onto your conditions, then it takes changing you and not the situation. To reach that level of honesty, to be able to show that clarity, it requires you to be honest to yourself at least. Maybe you could do it through talking to someone, maybe you could do it through noting things down, and it is not something very ephemeral, something very far away from us, and we think that okay, the answer lies in a particular a fortune cookie or something, or some tarot cards or something. It is something which is very practical, something very pragmatic, having a look at your current situation and all the elements which are making you what you are. You can easily make that decision. And if you think that in your current scenario you have to move, yet it is not possible currently, maybe it could be due to certain dependencies, maybe it could be due to monetary reasons, then you have to make a note of the things which you are facing, which are stopping you all the more. Because having known your problems and at the same time knowing your inhibitors which do not let you get away from your problems, it is the only thing which will spark and intensity in you to be able to look for solutions all the more. And this becomes very important for someone who is in dire need of change. We try to just bullshit our way through life, but many a times we end up ignoring our own problems, and by using this very blunt method, what we do is we kill our own sensitivity, we restrict our creativity, and we are not able to really flower. So you have to let this process happen, be conscious about it, and then everything or whatever happens, you take it as a blessing. You have that faith, you go into this path of devotion. But for that, this intelligence being employed in the first place to make sure that you are honest to yourself becomes very important. I hope that you are honest to yourself. I hope that you are able to get to this clarity, and the real confidence in your life will come only through clarity. Only through knowing your lacking, your shortcomings, will you be able to get to a solution which will last. Not like any other situation where we think we put in a stopgap effort and then we move on to the problem cropping up again. So I hope for a lasting solution, a samadhan for you.